The crypto market has felt like an absolute bloodbath over the past several months, specifically when it comes to altcoins. But I think that based on a few key technical factors, we are going to see a nice rotation into altcoins over the next coming weeks. What's going on, guys? It's CryptoDave here at the top tier, and in this video I want to break down why I think we could see a brief alt season, a point in time where altcoins are largely outperforming Bitcoin. And guys, if you enjoy these market updates, these deep dives and analyses, definitely subscribe to the channel and tick the little bell. You won't miss a single post. But without any further ado though, guys, let's jump into the video. So we're going to start here on the altcoin season index. We've shown this quite a bit on the channel so far. Of course, we are looking at the top 50 cryptocurrencies, comparing their performance to Bitcoin over the past 90 days, and the index produces essentially a percentage of those cryptocurrencies, right? You see at this point in time that about 20% of the top 50 cryptocurrencies have outperformed Bitcoin over the last 90 days. And this is a very telling measure of where you can allocate risk and when it's more strategic to do so. You're not going to be pouring money into altcoins after a 90-day period where 80% of altcoins have outperformed against Bitcoin, right? You've essentially missed your moment at that point in time. But unfortunately, as opposed to taking risk at the point in time where many altcoins are underperforming and where there's a lot of blood and pain in the streets, so to speak, people tend to be buying in when the altcoin season metric is already above 75%. And this is simply inverted. It's the wrong way to do it. We need to be looking at periods of time where there is destruction, where there is great loss in the space, and where there is essentially a pretty low return in terms of altcoins versus Bitcoin. We've seen it several different times over the years where this metric gets suspended underneath the 25-point level, and that is usually a pretty good period of time to start to slowly allocate that risk back into some altcoins. Now, if you've been keeping up with the channel, then you know that we have been primarily exposed to Bitcoin and stablecoins more than anything else, and that has saved us a ton of pain over the past few months. And if you want to avoid the wreckage that comes in this market, I would definitely recommend checking out the free Discord with the link in the description below. Definitely check it out. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump back into the video. So as we've covered so far on the channel, this market cycle has been heavily favorable for Bitcoin compared to most other digital assets in the space. Of course, we've seen a few winners, we've seen some narratives get their moment in the sun, but simply by looking at Bitcoin's market cycle, right, from November of 2022 up until present day, it's been nothing short of a healthy, bullish uptrend, setting in higher highs and higher lows every step of the way, constantly soaking up market share both in the good times and in the bad times. But that doesn't mean that there are not opportunities within a period of time like this, right? We can see several different points in time where you have quite a few weeks in a row, even a couple of months in a row, where Bitcoin dominance is correcting itself back to some of these longer term moving averages, such as the 50 weekly EMA, which you can see highlighted here. Of course, we know that Bitcoin is stealing the show in terms of this market cycle, and I do think that at some point we will get a real reversal for altcoins, but we have to be objective about where we're at. We have to understand what the market has been telling us for the past couple of years. So we are at a nice point if we just take a look at the relative strength index. If we turn on a volatility measure such as the Bollinger Bands, right, we can see that we are at a point in time where we would expect some sort of drop in terms of Bitcoin dominance, right? Some sort of minor pullback, even if that is just a simple correction back down to this 20 or this 50 weekly EMA, that would still be a multi-week, maybe multi-month window of time where speculating on altcoins can be rather advantageous, right? So of course we have to play the longer term trend, right, when it comes to our longer term investments, when it comes to our long-term positioning in altcoins, but there's no reason that we can't see a trade opportunity when it presents itself. Moving along to USDT dominance, this is another important chart to keep your eye on. This is essentially the market dominance of Tether, which is the leading stablecoin, not just in cryptocurrency, but in trading specifically. Most platforms tend to trade against USDT, although USDC and other stablecoins are popular options. USDT really does tell the story, right? So if we're looking at the market dominance of USDT, we know that we are essentially in a range-bound market. Clear resistance here around the 6.3% level, clear support right around this 3.75% level. We've just seen a sharp correction here from this resistance range, so it's very possible that we get a choppy, slow bleed over the next couple of weeks, taking us back down to this point of demand for USDT, right? So just the scenario to keep in mind, right? We're not looking at a crystal ball here, but we know that the nature of tethered dominance is range bound at this point. Clearly the support here and the resistance here that we have is fairly equal in terms of strength. And until we get a clear break of one of these key ranges, I would simply expect us to continue to be range bound, and as long as USDT.d is falling towards this support level, that leaves room for risk taking on the table. Taking it over to others/BTC, this is a great metric as well. So the others ticker is going to take a look at the market value of all cryptocurrencies excluding the top 10. And when you divide it by Bitcoin, you are essentially measuring the strength of some of the other mid and small cap cryptocurrencies against Bitcoin. And it gives you a great measure of when is a good idea to take a little bit more risk or a little bit less risk, right? And we can see here with an unconfirmed structure, we are making sort of a bullish falling wedge pattern here on the weekly time frame, which is fairly significant. We can see here that over the past several years, it has been a bloodbath for a lot more speculative altcoins against Bitcoin. But we're reaching some daily fair value gaps that were left all the way back here in 2021. We're setting in these lower lows in terms of price while sticking in higher lows on the weekly RSI. So I do think that the bearish trend that we have seen for others BTC now for literally 3 to 4 years could be coming to an end eventually. Now, a lot of stuff needs to happen. For one thing, we do need to see a conclusive bottom formed potentially around some of these support levels, maybe around this structure, right? Getting a nice confident bounce at a level of support would be the first step. The second step would be getting above the 21 and the 50 weekly EMAs that have been sort of holding price down over the past several years. And then third would be breaking this confirmed trend line that is acting as resistance. This would be a very, very nice scenario for altcoins to see conclusive price action and bullish follow through. To see some very clear high time frame market reversals would be very, very telling. And now I don't want to get ahead of myself. Certainly there's reason for optimism. There's reason for risk allocation once again when we see setups like this. We do need to be reasonable. Once again, we know that the market has been heavily in favor of Bitcoin. We know that not every altcoin narrative is going to perform well at the same point in time. We know that retail is not currently as invested in this space as they once were. So it's just important to be very careful about how you are speculating with your capital, right? How many narratives are you exposed to? How many coins are you exposed to? Are you effectively able to manage those positions and keep up with those projects? It's very important to be discretionary when taking your picks and allocating your risk within the altcoin market, but just by understanding where we are from a high time frame perspective, after 4 years of destruction in the altcoin market, coming back down to some of these longer term untapped fair value gaps, forming out some of this bullish reversal structure, right? Once again, this is unconfirmed, but we are making those strides once again. So we are going to be allocating some risk to the altcoin space. We're going to be trying to find those sectors that we think can truly outperform Bitcoin during the next expansive phase. And if you want to follow along with us, you can do so with the link down in the description. You'll get access to myself as well as 30 plus trading analysts between stocks, crypto, and Forex, all there to better your game while you learn. It's a great opportunity, guys, and until the next video, I will catch you in the Discord. Peace.